Hello and welcome to the Fignuts Podcast. This is Season 8, Episode 27, number 348 overall, and still haven't been canceled. I'm Sinch.
And I am Britt. And Sinch, thank you so much for coming on a unusual recording time. We're actually recording at around 9:30 Eastern in the morning.
It's the wacky morning radio edition.
It's Sinch and the Fat Man. Yeah, I don't know. We'll come up with some sort of name later.
I don't have any wacky sound effects. If you want to put them in, I got nothing.
Oh, don't open that door for Craig. You know he will. I do have something. I think I have an air horn. Hold on. Let me see. Let's see if I have any. I think I have an air horn effect here. Let's see. Here we go. That's it.
Well, there you go.
I don't even know if you could hear that, but it definitely played on my end.
Yeah, I heard it.
Well, we are back after an extended vacation. Gentle listener, we apologize for the lack of time. I had a birthday. I turned 50, went on vacation. Craig has been having a lot of real life stuff going on. He's fine, but just one of those things where like adulting has got to take precedence. So we have been on a little bit of a break, but Cinch and I are back this morning and we are going to talk some football. But first, let's, I got to look at my notes. Where do we normally start? Oh yeah, that's it. Cinch, what are you drinking this morning?
Well, keeping with the theme of what we always do with this podcast, I'm not drinking beer because you would have to be crazy.
Yeah, I can't even do that. Yeah, I can't.
But I have I grind my own coffee beans.
Oh.
So I have Cherry Garcia coffee. So that's cherry with like a little bit of a hint of chocolate. Not strong, but it's there. And I've put in a shot of Jim Beam Red Stag. It's like a cherry whiskey.
Oh, wow.
So that is what I'm drinking.
That's not too much cherry?
There's no such thing.
Oh, you're a cherry aficionado. Okay. I'm not a big cherry guy. guy.
You know what? I recently got reconnected with cherries after many, many years of not really caring. Mm-hmm. I was at my brother's and he made me an old fashioned and he was telling me he spends $25 on this little jar of cherries that are so good and blah, blah, blah. Who cares? It's cherries. And then he made me an old fashioned with these cherries in it. And it was like the best drink I've ever had. So I'm hooked on cherries again.
And you think the cherries are the reason the old fashioned was that good?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Really good.
My wife, loves a good, pardon the phrase, old fashioned. She loves them to death. That's
why she's with a guy who's 50 now.
That's right.
She likes an old fashioned.
She likes old fashions. Boom, boom. She
play the wacky air horn.
Yeah. I am ill prepared. Wait, let's see if there's something even better there. What else do we got besides the wacky air horn here? Do I have? I do have a drum roll. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna keep that up because I have a feeling we're gonna need it a couple times this morning.
Keep your finger on that mouse, ready to click.
I'm ready to go.
So, Britt, what are you drinking?
Coffee. I just have a cup of coffee. I didn't do anything fancy, and I don't grind my own beans. Although I'll tell you this, I don't know that Craig knows that, but Craig is very particular about his coffee, and he does grind his own beans as well. So he'll be happy to hear that. I am drinking literally a K-cup of Donut Shop coffee, which is my favorite of the K-cup blends. I don't know, my brother got me onto that particular blend years ago, and I've just always stuck with it.
Having tried the ground at home coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And then every once in a while, I'm just, I want to hurry up and get my coffee and I'll get the K-cup and the K-cups taste watered down compared to when you grind it yourself.
Oh, no question.
And that's not to say that when you grind it yourself, it's really strong or like dark roast or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it has more of a thickness, if that makes sense.
No, it does.
Liquid could be thick.
It does. I think, do you grind your beans every time you brew, or do you just do it like once and then use them till they're gone?
Probably once every 2 times I use them.
So you're talking a couple times a week you're grinding beans?
Minimum once. When I'm working, I don't do it. I just hurry up, get dressed, get the hell out of the house, go to work, and pick up something
So right then and there, you're dealing with really fresh coffee. I mean, that's the thing. Prepackaged coffee and K-cups, they're all ground and they sit around for Lord knows how long. You're dealing with stuff that just got ground in the last couple of days. It's going to be a much better cup of coffee, generally speaking. But we just bought a new K-cup maker because our old one was like spontaneously turning itself off in the middle of a cup. And this one is making such strong cups compared to the old maker. I'm like, they changed something in the design of these machines because this thing is making like espresso level strength coffee. But
or maybe your old machine was so bad that the water wasn't going through the coffee, it was going around the coffee.
That's entirely possible.
Oh.
So there we go. Yeah, we'll do some sound effects today because it's the morning show. But okay, so we're both on coffee. Sinch's coffee is much better and more interesting than mine, which leads us to burning hot takes. So it's been a couple weeks since you and I have spoken about anything football related. What's burning with you?
Let's see. Football related?
Doesn't have
not
to
a
be
damn thing. Not a damn thing. Burning hot. I've done this podcast so many times and I have no burning hot take. I was ill prepared. I literally woke up and said, "All right, let's go."
But that was the plan. This is the off season. This is the more relaxed time of the year anyway. So, you're traveling this week, aren't you?
I am.
And where are you going again?
Going to New Hampshire.
Anywhere good in New Hampshire?
Graduation. What's that?
Where in New Hampshire?
Nashua.
I've never been there. Is there any good breweries up there?
I don't know. I don't live there. I know nothing.
Nashua.
I mean,
New Hampshire.
Having been to New Hampshire quite a lot because our state is nearby. I can tell you that New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine. Yes, I'm going to offend all of them. Not a lot to do.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming there would be breweries. I don't know if that's offensive. I mean, they live there. They know there's nothing to do.
Okay, so
that's why the population's like in the hundreds there because, there's nothing to do.
All right, so I'm going to help you out here. In your burning hot take is going to be breweries in Nashua. Here's a place called Omnium Brewing, has a 4.4 rating on Yelp. It's in Nashua. Table Spinner Brewery, 4.4. Epigram Brew, and I've never heard any of these, but let's see if one's Oddfellows Brewing. Oh, I like the name of this place. This sounds like, I think this place is a beer pub, and it's called Liquid Therapy. So it's got a good name. All right, so your challenge, Mr. Sinch, is while you're in Nashua to try a local beer local to the Nashua area so that you can report back and tell us what you had.
That's no problem. Yes, that'll be taken care of.
That'll be easy. An easy one. That's an easy challenge.
Once I get there to my brother-in-law, he's going to have a stock full fridge of every kind of beer that I don't see around here. So
nice.
I'll knock that out in the first half hour.
Nice. So my burning hot take, I'm going to stay on the beer train. We went to Lake George, New York a couple weeks ago and found out a couple days before we left that Treehouse Brewing had just opened a satellite location in Saratoga Springs. You have to drive by Saratoga Springs to get to Lake George. There's no way from the south to get there without going through Saratoga Springs. So I told my wife we are making a stop. Let me tell you, everyone who's listened to our podcast before knows we've tried Treehouse before. We like their stuff. Even Adam likes their stuff. I'm not supposed to use his name. But their new facility, holy shit, Sinch. It was so nice. It was rustic. It was all wood finished, but it was very modern in the setup. It could seat hundreds of people inside. I probably had seen for about 100, 200 people inside and another 400 to 600 people outside easy. I'm talking like a football field sized area that they built this brewery and outdoor seating on. Like, amazing. So here's my burning hot take, and I want yours on this too. When I visit a brewery, the beer quality is extremely important, right? It's probably the reason you go to a brewery. But I had this conversation with Christy the other day. What kind of brewery environment do you like? Because for me, I like the more rustic, wooden, the older settings, like Two Roads in Stratford is the old remodeled factory. It's the building itself feels like it's got a lot of history. But then you walk like 50 yards to their Area 2 building, and I feel like I'm walking into an art exhibit. What do you look for when you, outside of actually quality of beer, environmentally, what do you look for when you visit a brewery?
I am so ready for this question. My favorite place, my favorite brewery that I've ever been to. Mm-hmm. I went with The Source and who else was I with? And Keith. Okay. So we were. It's the Treehouse in Sandwich, Mass.
Yes, I'm familiar with it.
Right on the beach. You are on the sand, and if you go upstairs to the brewery where you're sitting down and drinking, you're right there. You're looking at the sand. You're looking at the waves. All the people on the beach in front of you. If that's not the perfect place, I don't know what is.
So for you, it's more about the scenery and the environment around the brewery rather than the inside of a place.
I'm a big fan of the beach.
That's fair. That's 100% fair. That makes a lot of sense. I'm much more of an inside person, so I prefer like the inside seating kind of thing. And it was nice that day. My wife says to me, we're gonna get one beer, right? Because we had ordered to go because we're heading on vacation. We were going to a vacation house. Craig was supposed to come and then had to cancel because of his real life BS. But Sean was coming up. There's like 7 or 8 of us coming up, and I'm like, I'm getting a case of Treehouse. We're gonna go through a case of Treehouse easily on this vacation. There's like 6 or 7 beer drinkers. We're there for 4 nights. Even if everybody only has a beer or 2 each night, we're gonna fly through this case, no problem. I brought most of it home, and now it's gone. But that's beside the point. So I get there. Sean's like, "Oh yeah, I'm one and done these days on beer. I can't do beer anymore." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, right.
I'm like, "Are you kidding? What?"
I don't believe that.
I had to negotiate with his wife to get him to go to Northway with us.
Oh, well, see, that's not him. That's his wife.
Well, no, but he was like, "Well, I'm only going to go and have 1 beer. I can't." He had 2 beers at Northway. We went to Common Roots, had lunch. He had 2 flights there. So 2 beers. And he's like, "Oh, I'm feeling really full." And I negotiated with his wife because she's like, "No, we have to go shopping. We're going to the outlets." And I'm like, "He doesn't need anything at the outlets. You need stuff at the outlets. Just go." And she was like, "Well, he holds the purse strings here, and that's for everybody's good." And I'm like, no. So I negotiated with her, and I ended up dragging him to Northway afterwards, where he had 2 more beers. So he had 4 beers that afternoon. So he's not the lightweight he says he is. But
is he trying to diet or something? I don't understand.
He says the gas he feels very full and bloated now with beer. He can drink hard alcohol, no problem, but the beer makes him feel very bloated.
But I mean, like a month or 2 ago, he would have 7 or 8, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, who am I? You know.
Yeah. This is getting old. This is getting old bullshit on our end. Our bodies are changing now, so you know you're the youthful. You're the embodiment of youthfulness, so that you get away with it. So it's easy.
Well, let me tell you, I've noticed. I've gone through recently. My refrigerator crashed and died, so we had to get a new one. So you've got to empty everything out, and it's a panic, and you got to hurry, and I got to get this stuff to a refrigerator.
Yep.
So I texted you guys, "Hey, is beer okay if I take it out of the fridge and it just gets room temperature, and then I put it back in the fridge?" And you guys said, "Yeah, it'll be fine."
Yep.
So I realized that I had Britt, what's the name of it? The Holiday, the Two Roads Holiday.
Holiday Ale. Yeah.
I still had Holiday Ale in there. So I realized that my beer drinking really slows down in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to the harder alcohol because winter, I don't know. Like in the summer, I go out there, I cut the grass, you got to have a beer or 2.
Yep.
I get in the pool, I want a beer. I don't want, pina colada, I want a beer. So in the summer, I'll drink the beer much more. In the winter, I'm off of it. So maybe Sean is just in the winter of, I don't want to say his life. That's depressing. He's in the winter of, help me out here. I need a wacky morning sound effect.
Now is the winter of our discontent, made spring by the glorious son of York. You're welcome. Thank you. Actually, the proper response would have been this one, but that's okay. No, maybe it is. Maybe it's a seasonal thing for him.
The crickets are summer, not winter.
Yeah, well, but when my performance goes over poorly, then that's what you would hear from the audience.
It did not go over poorly.
Oh, okay. So anyway, so maybe it is. Maybe it's just a seasonal thing for him. It's possible. It's possible.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. Speaking of people who'll be back, it is only June. By the way, gentle listener, Sinch has already started his rankings.
Yes.
Way ahead of everybody else. We're not discussing them yet because I want to give him time to change them because, you know, they will be changed. They will be changed, and people may get hurt. Things can change, so we'll let it sit. But he's already working hard to get stuff ready for the preseason, which we appreciate.
I got to tell you something.
Yeah,
I've had the quarterback rankings since the season ended. I did them.
Wow.
And I've just moved this one here, moved that one there, because I wanted to try something different this year. When the season ends, it's all fresh in my head.
Right.
And now we get to June or July, and you say, what team does Williams play for? And it's like, Williams? Who's Williams? Is that his first name? Is that his last name? I don't even know who we're talking about.
Yep.
So, you know, I didn't do that for everyone because it's just too much.
Right.
And, you know, the grind of the football season and so many different fantasy teams that you're looking at the computer or the phone every single day trying to do the best thing you could do. So, yeah, but the quarterback one, because rule number one, if you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to win.
Yep. Since his first rule. What's the second rule? Never give a quarterback a second contract.
No.
A running back.
Never give a running back a second contract unless it's team friendly.
Right. Since rules for life, man.
There are exceptions. Like Saquon so far is an exception. McCaffrey for a season or two was an exception.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, maybe 2 years from now, we look back and say, well, you know, maybe they shouldn't have given, I don't know what he gets, like $30 million a season.
Right. Fair point. So today, what I wanted to just spend a couple minutes talking about today to segue into this is looking back at last year, looking forward to this year. I'm looking at some of the records that teams posted, and I'm thinking to myself, some of these guys got to get better. And some of these guys, I don't know how they did it. So I want to just go over a couple of teams. We're just going to go right down. We'll start with the AFC. We'll see how far we get.
Hey, Britt.
Yeah.
Britt, don't tell me how many they won last year.
Okay.
Because, say the Chiefs. Okay, the Chiefs, are they going to be better or worse? And I'll throw out a win total. And maybe I'll say, I think they're going to be better. They're going to win 11. You're going to say, well, they won 12 last year, so that's not, you know what I mean?
Nice. So, okay. I like this. This is a great idea. All right. Well, we're going to go right down the list. So let's start with the AFC East, where the Buffalo Bills won a division. Buffalo Bills, better or worse this year?
I can see them.
And we're doing this without seeing schedules, by the way. We're not looking at schedules. This is just gut feelings.
My own stupid idea. I could see them being about what they were last year. Maybe, well, no, let me change it. I know, because I'm a Patriot fan, that the AFC East has one of the easiest schedules for this upcoming season.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I say Buffalo will be one game better. So I don't know, what's 12 wins?
That puts them at 14.
Okay, they're not going to be 14 wins.
Yeah, they went 13-4 last year. They went 8-0 at home. Only lost one game in the division. And that's where I look at this and I'm like, I don't think Buffalo is going to be as good this year. I mean, as bad as the AFC East has been, generally speaking, I think that the teams that have been bad are showing signs of improvement. I don't think Buffalo can go 5-1 in division again. So I'm going to put them at like 10 to 12 wins and say they're going to be worse than they were last year.
Well, see, I feel that they will be a worse team, but because of the easy schedule, and not just the AFC East teams,
right?
I'm just looking at the Patriots. I know no one really cares. Aside from the division teams they play the Raiders, Steelers, Panthers, Saints, Titans, Falcons, Bucks, Bengals, Giants, Ravens. There's very few you're not going to win, or it would be hard to win games.
Yeah, I could see them winning all but 2 or 3 of those, honestly.
So I think Buffalo will have about the same record, but probably not be as good.
Okay. Miami Dolphins.
I think the Dolphins are going to be worse. I could see I think they've done everything they can do with Tua, and I could see the players starting to turn like, we can't count on this guy. We're only so good. And again, they have the AFC East weak schedule. but I think Miami is headed for a downturn. I could see them being a bottom 5 team.
So I'm going to agree with you. They were 8-9 last year, and I think they are on their way out. One of the key stats that jumps out to me is their points scored. This is a team that was built around offense. Tua's supposed to be a machine. Tyreek Hill's supposed to be a machine. They only scored 345 points last year. Compare that to like the people who won divisions. Buffalo 525, Ravens 518. The Texans were the worst at 372. They're still better. Kansas City only scored 385 points, but they had a net negative in points last year. They were 19. They were outscored by 19 points. With the offensive weapons you supposedly have, no, I don't see anything they've done to get better. So yeah, I agree. I put them at 5 or 6 wins. Honestly, I mean I'm sitting here talking about teams getting better in that division. Miami ain't one of them. Miami's time is over.
Tyreek Hill wants out, then he doesn't want out, and then it's like everybody thinks he wants out, but they won't let him out. Openly talking about he wants to go back to Kansas City. So I don't know. I mean, I think they're ready to fall apart.
Yeah, I agree. The New York Jets.
The Jets are a tough one. For years, I've thought they have enough talent, but they Jets all over themselves, and they don't seem to win.
Jets all over themselves. That's the best thing I've ever heard.
This year, they've got a great running quarterback in Justin Fields and a terrible passing quarterback in Justin Fields. So I don't think they're going anywhere. I could see them winning maybe 7 games, 6 games, plus a new head coach who's never been a head coach. So without knowing what they won last year, I think they're going to be a game or 2 worse this year.
Okay, so they were 5-12 last year.
Oof.
So
well, I could see them going 5-12 again.
Yeah, I could see them going 5 to 7 wins. You know, I could see them getting a little bit better, but yeah, I cannot disagree with your assessment at all. They were 3-5 at home. That's they were 0-5 against the NFC.
You know, when you're a bad team, and they were a bad team, they fired their front office, their head coach. Yep. Their quarterback is on a darkness retreat still. So, I mean, when you're in the woods, and they were in the woods, it's going to be dark.
Yep.
That's also could be the name of this episode. When you're in the woods, it's going to be dark.
We'll put that in the summary. We'll put that in the...
This is good coffee.
It's good. This is good coffee, and it's dark in the woods. Patriots, better or worse? You're the Pats expert. Let's hear it.
The Patriots, by virtue of having a good head coach, compared to a guy who had never even been a defensive coordinator who all of a sudden was head coach.
Right.
That automatically is going to get them 2 or 3 wins. Just being prepared going into a game and then in-game management. So I think they're definitely better. Not to mention they got rid of some of the older dead weight and they brought in a lot of new players. And when you stink for multiple years, the best thing you could do is get rid of all the players because we already know they stink. So I think they're an easy better.
I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna break my own rule. Look at their schedule really quick.
Well, I read you the schedule. All those teams I said, that was the Patriots schedule.
Well, I'm looking at them in order though.
Oh, okay. I'm not telling you they're going to make the playoffs. I'm just saying that they're going to be better than 4 wins or whatever they had.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Week 1, they play the Raiders at home. They got to win that game. Week 2, they're at the Dolphins. We just talked about how the Dolphins are a team in decline. That's a great opportunity for them to make a statement. I think they can. Week 3, at home against the Steelers. The Steelers are not good, people. I know.
Still don't have a quarterback.
They don't have a quarterback. They're not good. We're going to get to them in a second. Then week 4, they host Carolina Panthers. So 3 of their first 4 games are at home. And the one that's on the road is Miami. Then they go to Buffalo. I could see this team being 3-1, maybe even 4-0. At worst, 2-2. Going
and that's
into Buffalo.
A good time to play in Buffalo in the first week of October.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
But, it's a bad time to play in Miami the second week in September because it's going to be 90 degrees and humid and
hot.
Yeah.
But I think that, if the question is, are they going to be better or worse? And they had 4 wins last year, and there's a possibility they could start out 3-1. Then yes, I got to say they're going to be better because unless the absolute worst part of their schedule is the first 3 weeks, or the best part of their schedule for them is the first 3 weeks, they're going to improve.
Well, when you set the bar so low.
That's the thing. It's not a high bar. It's not a high bar. And you're right. The coaching matters here. It matters a ton.
More than any other sport, good coaching matters in football.
Yeah. AFC North, Baltimore Ravens.
I think by virtue of them having such a great year last year, I could see them taking a one-loss step back. But I still think they're the top echelon of the AFC. So Baltimore should win the division again.
Okay. They had 12 wins last year. I'm going to predict a step back. They also scored the most points of anybody in AFC last year at 518. But see, so Kansas City only scores 385, but only gives up 326. That's a net of 59 points. But they won 3 more games than Baltimore did last year. Baltimore netted extra 157. So when you have a higher net score, you're outscoring opponents by 157 points, but you're winning fewer games than your closest rival. That says to me you are blowing out the bad guys and sneaking by the good guys.
Well, see, what that says to me between those two teams, you have the Chiefs are the professionals. They know how to win. They've gotten to the mountaintop. They know what it takes to get to the mountaintop. We don't need to overexert our players. We have the lead in the fourth quarter. Let's run the ball. Let's get the play clock down to 2 or 3 before we snap the next play.
Verbo
Baltimore
has over 57,000 exclusive vacation homes.
They're crazy. We gotta go. We're gonna get them. We're gonna score again. So that's that's what I want to see the Patriots do. A team that's coming from the bottom, trying to come up. But once you get to the top, you can't maintain it if you play that way.
Right. I got to agree. So I don't know. I see Baltimore taking a step back this year. Pittsburgh.
I don't know what they won. They should be worse.
They will absolutely be worse.
I'm usually the Steeler defender.
Right.
Because Craig and Britt do not like the Steelers.
Can't stand them.
The Steelers are nothing to me. They're just another team. When you have no quarterback, I think we've touched on this already. When you have no quarterback, you aren't going to win. And they are stuck in the woods where they have no quarterback. And when you're in the jungle, it's going to be dark.
Yeah. So here's why I say this. I remember around this time last year listening to NFL radio on Sirius, and one of the prognosticators going, do not be shocked when the Steelers start off like 5 or 6-0. And I was like, that's insane. And he said, I don't think they're good, but they open against Atlanta, then they go to Denver, then they host the Chargers, then they go to Indianapolis, then they host Dallas. So, and back then, again, Dallas was supposed to be really good. Last year at this time, people thought Dallas was going to be on its way up. So they're like, they're going to go into that game probably at 3 wins or 4 wins, and they did. They went in at 3-1, and they got beat by Dallas, but then rebounded by playing the Raiders, the Jets, and the Giants all in order. So you go into what turns out to be a real game that they actually won in Washington at 6-2, and you've only played one legit team. Now, don't forget, this team only ended up 10-7. That means they started off 6-2 and then went 4-5 down the stretch. I don't see. They have losses to Cleveland. Well, everybody lost to Philadelphia last year. They got beat by 19 by the Chiefs. No, the Chiefs don't beat anybody by 19. They beat everybody by 2. So Pittsburgh at 10 wins last year, going to be much worse this year. I'm going to put them at 8-7. I'm sorry, 8-9. 8-9.
Mike Tomlin's a good coach. I know you guys don't like him. He's a good coach. He holds it all together with masking tape.
And that's why I don't think he's a good coach. I agree with that statement 100%. But that's why I think he's a bad coach.
But if you don't have a quarterback, it's hard to attract the good wide receivers. If you don't draft them, the free agents don't want to go there. That's why you have to trade for DK Metcalf. Mm-hmm. And what happens if you draft a guy like Pickens, who's your wide receiver, who, hey, this guy is going to be an A talent, he's going to be great, and then he turns out to be a crazy person like Antonio Brown was. You have them for a short amount of time, and you're kind of helpless to their insanity. You have to put up with them and allow them to do what they want to do. So you could look at it as a positive that they traded Pickens, they brought in DK Metcalf, He's a little bit of, he is a very strong, very solid, if he's healthy for the whole season, a really, really, really good wide receiver.
Yes.
But he's been known to have a temper where you could take him out of the game as well. But I think he's definitely, no doubt about it, an upgrade over Pickens. So all they need is a quarterback. Like a lot of teams, all you need is a quarterback, and then everything turns around.
There's a difference for me between being, hold on a second, recording from the control tower today, and of course, I live down the street from a firehouse, 2 fire engines at the same time, blaring down the street. Thanks, guys. I'm in the middle of a recording here. Thanks.
They're on their coffee run.
Yeah, they're on a coffee run. That's why they have the sirens going. They need it. They're heading in your direction, because I know where you live, and they are literally heading towards your house. So they might be coming for coffee, because they heard you have the good coffee.
If they get here, I'll let you know.
There you go. The difference between DK Metcalf and George Pickens, other than established track record, is that there is a difference between a guy with a temper and a guy who is mentally unstable. And I say that having worked with mentally unstable people my entire career. You know, Travis Kelce has a temper, but I don't think he's unstable. AB, George Pickens, these guys are unstable. And that's a huge difference for me. I can work with a guy who's fiery and is going to have to be put in his place once in a while, but you can't work with guys who just that need professional help. I mean, we've seen it more. I mean, I thought the weirdest thing I'd ever see out of Antonio Brown was the day he ripped off his jersey, flashed a peace sign at the crowd, and ran off into retirement. And anything I've seen from him since has just been worse. So, but I think that DK Metcalf, I agree with you. He can be good as long as he stays healthy, and I think his role there is going to be different than it is in Seattle. I also think the expectations are different than they are in Seattle, so that's going to factor in as well. Cincinnati Bengals are next on our list. What do you got for the Bengals this year?
I think the Bengals will be better. I think they're a playoff team. Last year they weren't. I can't tell you about the offensive linemen in the draft, but I know the Bengals drafted a few, and that's a good idea because they've been among the worst offensive lines in the league for the entire Joe Burrow era. So that's extra credit for him for being successful and striving. Hey, fire trucks driving by right now. How crazy is that?
That's it. It's them. It's them.
Well, there you go.
Are they stopping for coffee?
No.
They just kept going?
They're in a rush. So I think the Bengals are better until they're not.
I mean, at 9-8, you got to think
until
they're
Joe Burrow dies.
Yeah, they're at 9-8. You've got to imagine if everyone stays healthy that they're going to be better. This is a team that won its last 5, had to go 6-3 on the road just to be in the conversation. The 3-5 home record, you're not going to see that again this year. They're not going to be a losing team at home. All of the metrics for them were positive, except for the outcomes and the sacks taken. So, and to your point, they've tried to help the offensive line. I think they got to be better than 9 wins this year.
Hey, Britt, do you know why the Bengals didn't make the playoffs? They missed by 1 game.
Yeah.
Opening week, the Patriots went to Cincinnati and beat them. Yep.
It's true. Leads us to Cleveland. The active tire fire of the NFL.
When you're in the jungle, it's going to be dark.
They're not in the jungle, though, Sinch. They're buried in the jungle. They're underground.
They're in the jungle, and their way out is to burn the entire jungle, and then they could get out. But they're in the jungle, so they're going to burn with it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they set a low bar, and I don't think they're going to make it. When you don't have a quarterback, and you can't tell me Kenny Pickett is a quarterback, they have no quarterback. They're not going to win.
They won 3 games last year. But yeah, Kenny Pickett is not the answer. So I'm going to agree.
I stand by my previous statement.
Yeah,
I don't think they're better than that.
I agree. I don't think there's anything more to say there. I agree. Houston Texans, we're into the South.
I think the Texans will be better this year. I think Stroud had a bad year last year. He saw both of his wide receivers go down.
Oh yeah.
And he had no one to throw to. This year they drafted 2 wide receivers in I think the first 3 rounds, I think. Mm-hmm. Is it Tank Dell that's out for the year this year? One of their 2 guys.
Dell had the major injury.
I think it's him then.
It's got to be him that's not coming back.
Season. But I think I think I'm basing this on, I think CJ Stroud is a good quarterback. And I think he had a great first year. His second year, he took a step back. That's to be expected. Plus, he had those injuries. So I think the third year, he's going to go back up to where he was the year before.
So just to update what you were just saying, yes, on May 4th, Evan Massey of Yahoo Sports is reporting that Dell will more than likely miss the entire season. So yeah, it looks like he's going to be done for the year. And he was really emerging before he got hurt. So that is a big hit. That division's really bad. Someone in there's got to be good just because they have to play each other. So, I mean, Houston went 5-1 divisionally last year. So I don't know that they're going to be able to do that again. So I'm going to put them. I think
they can.
Just because nobody else is good, though. I mean,
they're in a bad division.
I mean, you go 5-1 in division, and you only got, and they went 5 and that means they went 5-6 outside division. That's not really awe-inspiring to me, but yeah, I think they'll be a little bit worse, but not much. But what about the Colts? Are the Colts finally going to be better?
Rule number 1, when you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to win. Richardson has a lot of talent. He's not a quarterback.
Agreed.
Daniel Jones has some talent. He has some abilities. But when you have a quarterback controversy, it means you have no quarterback. They're not going to be better.
If you put both of their brains together, you still wouldn't have enough decision making for one good quarterback. For both of those guys,
no, you wouldn't have the decision making for throwing accuracy, because Richardson could run better than, as well as anyone, but he doesn't. He's new. He's a kid. He's got 2 years in the league, and one was injured most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
He can't throw the ball. He's not a good quarterback.
I agree.
When quarterback rankings come out, he is among the bottom 5 in the league.
And that sad because I thought last year was going to be a big year for him, and obviously it turned out not to be. So what can you do? But all right, everybody's favorite team, Jacksonville Jaguars. What do you think?
I think that Trevor Lawrence is an incredibly mediocre quarterback. I think when you look at his numbers, they match Daniel Jones' numbers.
Yep.
But he got a second contract, and everybody says, hey, he's great. They got their quarterback.
Because they have one good year.
I think they're spinning their wheels. I don't think they get anywhere. I don't know what they won last year, but I could see them winning 8 games this year.
Okay, well, they won 4 last year.
All right, well, I'll give them a step up because they set that bar so low.
Yeah, I agree. I think they win more games this year, but I still don't think they're relevant. The problem with Jacksonville is that everyone there is supposed to be good until they're not. I sang the praises of Travis Etienne left and right last year, and man, was I wrong about that. Craig still hasn't forgiven me for that, because he was like, yeah, maybe Britt's got a point. Yeah, Travis Etienne, yeah. And I was it's almost like they don't know how to develop anybody. It's not even developing your quarterback. It's like they don't know how to develop anybody in Jacksonville, which is weird, but
well, they fired their front office and they brought in a new coach, so we'll see.
Everybody's playing for their jobs at this point in Jacksonville. Everybody. So, finishing the division, Tennessee Titans.
You know what? I'm going to give them improvement because they drafted Cam Ward, and he can't be any worse than Billy Jeans, Will Levis. So I give them a step up. They're a little bit better.
They were 3-14 last year, and a huge reason why was not only did they only score 311 points, but they gave up a conference high 460 points. You cannot win games. You can't score and you can't stop the other team. Guess what? You don't have to be an expert to know that means you're going to lose games. And they lost their last 6 to end the year last year. So
it's really important for a bad team with young talent to start the season winning a game or 2.
Yeah.
Because if you believe and then the season starts and you get hammered and hammered and hammered, then you say, oh, we suck. And that's what losing 6 in a row at the end does.
Yeah.
All they have to do is win 4 games.
Who do they open against preseason out of the way? They open at the Broncos. That's a loss. They're home against the Rams. Probably a loss.
That's a loss.
They host the Colts.
That's a win. They should win that game. You're at home against another bad team.
Then they got to go to Houston. That's a loss, right? At Houston?
Yeah. Well, division games can be wacky, but yeah, that's a loss.
And then at the Cardinals in week 5, that's like a toss-up game.
They
I could see them win
that.
one or two. 1 or 2 wins in the first 5 games, I say. I don't know. Titans are another one. They're like the Titans. The only reason the Titans aren't the tire fire is because they can look at Cleveland and go, damn. That's it. All right, last division. Wow, we're running long today. The last division, we'll get through the AFC and we'll close it up today. Kansas City Chiefs.
I think Kansas City is, well, you know what? They're a tough one. I was going to say I think they're primed for a good year because all of last season, they were not good, but they were winning every game.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to say they're going to be better this year because I could see the bounce back. I could see Mahomes improving his numbers. But see, here's the thing. Kelsey is in the end of his career. He's a guy you leave in the garage until the playoffs when you need him. He's going to get 3 catches for 40 yards. Don't draft him in fantasy. Yep. There's a young guy you could get who will give you better production. You've got Rashee Rice. Is he going to be around? Is he going to be suspended?
Nobody ever seems to know.
There's too many questions. If they didn't win so many games, I would say they're going to be better. I could see them being a worse record, but a better team.
That's exactly how I feel. They do not get to 15 wins this year, but I think that they will play better. Their statistics were not great. 385 points scored, 326 allowed. That is a net of 59 positive points. Across 17 games, that's less than 3.5 points. That's an average win margin of 3.5.
Look at it this way. Over 15 wins.
Right.
Because when they lost, they didn't get blown out. They lost by 3 or 7 or something.
Right.
So that means when they're winning games by 4 points, by 7 points, by maybe 10, and then the next week by 1.
Yep.
So I think that their overall ability is too good for them to not win, 13.
Yeah, I put them at 10 to 12 wins personally, but yeah, I definitely think if we're going strictly off,
shocked. If the Chiefs win 10 games, I'll be shocked.
All right, well, so that's that. We'll have to see how that happens. I don't see. I think Kansas City is on its way down, but that doesn't mean that they're not a great team still. But that division, unfortunately, is getting better by strides, which brings us to the next team, the Los Angeles Chargers.
I think the Chargers are going to be better. Go back to when you have a good head coach. Harbaugh is a good coach.
Yep.
And last year was, okay, this is implementing my system. This is what I want to do. This year they drafted a running back that's going to be their stud. They brought over Najee Harris for some reason. I have no idea. But they brought him in. I think he's bad. I don't think he has any burst. I don't think he... Anyway. Another year in his system. I think the defense will be a little bit better. I think the offensive line will be a little bit better. And I think Herbert, they had to break him down to build him back up.
Agreed.
Because previously, I have to throw it every down. There's no way we're going to win if I don't throw it. They had to tell him, look, you don't have to throw it everywhere, every down. You just got to take it easy and hit the open receiver. So I think he'll have a better year as well. So I think they're on their way up.
I agree. They won 11 games last year. That division is getting much stronger offensively. Like you nailed it on the head. Harbaugh is an offensive coach. He's making good things happen. He's got a year in. And the same can be said for the team we're going to discuss next. Same sort of situation. So is the Chargers going to have a better record this year? I don't know. But are they going to be a better team? Yes. I think most of the AFC West we can lump into, I don't know if their record will be better, but they're going to be better playing teams this year. So I agree with you there. Which leads us to the Denver Broncos, who made the playoffs. And Sean Payton seems to be in the same mold of Harbaugh. Give him a year. Let's see what happens. Do the Broncos improve on last year?
See, I'll take it in the opposite direction with Denver. I think they had a rookie quarterback, new system, new coach, and I think they overachieved.
Ooh, okay.
I think Nick's looked really good. He looked really solid, like we could win games with this guy. But he didn't look too much like a rookie. I don't think he's exceptional where he's never going to look like a rookie. So I could see him taking a step back. I could see them losing a game or two more than they did last year.
Okay. They were 10-7 last year, so that would put them in the 8-9 win range. And then, again, you're going to have to play the Chiefs twice. You're going to have to play the Chargers twice. Divisionally, they were only 3-3 last year. So they would have to make some strides in that department for sure. The last one, the Las Vegas Raiders.
The Tom Brady owned Las Vegas Raiders. That's the second team Brady owns. He also owns the Bills. No, wait, the third. He owns the Steelers. No, never mind. This could go on for a long time. Thank you very much. I'll be here all week. So I think bringing in Pete Carroll, the one thing you're going to get with Pete Carroll, you're going to get the right attitude. You're going to get everyone pulling in the right direction. They're all going to be pulling at the same time. I think what you've had with Las Vegas, Oakland, and then Las Vegas is no leadership that the players could get behind. So I think that's something that Pete Carroll brings. They traded for Geno Smith. I think he is the epitome of an NFL quarterback. He is as solid as they come. He's not going to be a superstar, but he's not going to throw up 5 interceptions and not know what to do with the ball. So I think all of this is a step in the right direction. They drafted Genti, the running back, who's going to be, I think he's going to be a superstar. I think he's a top 5 running back and a first-round pick in fantasy. So I think everything is heading in the right direction. So I could see them being better.
So I just got a message in chat from one of my viewers on Twitch, Rainier, who says the AFC West should be a tougher division too because the Broncos and Raiders are going to be better probably. And that's where I think that when we get into this conversation about records, when we focus solely on records, is a hard indicator because yes, I think we both agree the Broncos aren't going to get to 10 wins, but the Broncos are going to be a tough team. They're not going to be an easy out.
It's like you said, they could be better. They could be a better team than last season. But last season, they found a way to win some of these games that, a good winning coach comes in and teaches a team how to win. And that's what they did. But my only point is you get a rookie quarterback who overachieves. I think the second year he's going to take a step back. And that's the difference in one win.
So for me,
one more loss.
So for me, I'm going to look at it this way. If we're all on the same page here, that these teams will play better, but not necessarily get better results, then what I'm going to look at is divisional record last year, and I'm going to shift towards the median there. So Vegas was 0-6 in the AFC West last year. I can see them being 2-4 in division. Broncos were 3-3. I can see them staying at 3-3. Chargers were 4-2. I can see them staying at 4-2. Kansas City was 5-1. I can see that going down to 4-2 or 3-3 easily. I think there's just regression towards the median in this division because, to your point, everyone seems to be making improvements that will matter. And all of them, what other division in football right now has 4 fully capable head coaches like this division has?
I mean, it's June. I have no idea.
I mean,
let me ask you. You nailed it.
Let me ask you this. And we'll go to final thoughts on this. Andy Reid, Harbaugh, Peyton, and Carroll. Who's the worst coach there? Who's the one you wouldn't want? Because I'll take any of them.
All of them are good. If I had to pick the one that I wouldn't want, it would be Carroll, and it would be unfair because it would just be age-based. He's, I think, 73 now.
Exactly.
But I still think he's a good head coach.
But no matter who you exclude there, you're cutting a good coach. I can't say that about any other division in the AFC. I can't look at the AFC and say, okay, every other coach is viable and is Pete Carroll's level. Wow.
I'll take that past AFC and I'll take it to NFL history. If anyone wants to look it up and let Britt know or tie a note to a rock and throw it through a window. No. I don't think you've had 4 head coaches in one division better than that at any point in history. You've got 3 Super Bowl winning head coaches, and the other one made it to the Super Bowl and lost.
Yeah. What about the heyday of the AFC East when I'm thinking back to like the Bill Parcells era with the Jets. the coaches there were pretty good too. Wasn't it around the time Shula retired?
Yeah, he was gone.
He was gone already. Okay.
See, that's the problem we're going to have is there's always going to be one weak link, and this division doesn't have that.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, I think Marv Levy was still there. So you would have had... Levy was gone by then?
When Parcells was there. That was like 2002, 3, 4. Or 2000. No, it was earlier. Parcells was with the Jets 98 to 2001, I think.
He was the general manager of the 1997 to 1999.
Yeah, if Levy was there, that would be between Parcells. But see, at the time, Belichick was a no one. He was a failed Cleveland head coach. The Patriots did win 2001, so that's a Super Bowl winning head coach. Levy, if he was there, made it to 4 Super Bowls and lost, but 4 in a row, that's pretty impressive.
Oh, no. Okay, hold on. I got it on the screen. Okay, are you ready for this?
I'm sitting down.
I picked 1998 because Parcells was going in 99. I don't know if they meet calendar, if they season year, whatever. The 1998 NFL head coaches. The head coach for the New York Jets was Bill Parcells. For the New England Patriots was Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
For Miami was Jimmy Johnson. And you're like, okay, well, you know, you're making a semi-decent argument here, but to percentage point, here's the cliff. Because the head coach of the Buffalo Bill was Wade Phillips.
And you know what? Wade Phillips was an excellent defensive coordinator.
Yes. And they were 10-6. They weren't bad.
Pete Carroll was a failed Jets head coach. That's all he had done at the time. He had not been to USC yet. He had not won a Super Bowl with Seattle.
Correct. Absolute valid points. Absolute valid points. But to your point, you're like, there's always that cliff. Even if you want to sit there and go, okay, Carroll was still a good coach. He was developing. He's not the guy he is now. You still hit that cliff with Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips in 1998 is not the coach that Pete Carroll is now. He might not even been the coach Pete Carroll was then at the head level. So wild stuff. It's wild stuff to consider. The AFC West is going to be a wild place next year. Next year's. No question. No question. All right, Sinch, we are way over time, and I appreciate you hanging out a little bit longer with us today. Let's get to final thoughts. It doesn't have to be football related. We're in the off season. What's your final thought for today? Did I lose him? Cinch, are you there? Oh, no, I think I lost Cinch. I'm seeing him in the Discord, but I'm not seeing him light up. There he is. Okay.
Here I am.
Minor connection issue.
You know how
final
bizarre
thought.
This is? This is bizarre.
Yeah.
My phone was turned off. You know, the screen was off.
Yeah.
When I turned it on, it was muted. So I don't know. The universe has had enough of me. I was just going to say I want to come back and do the NFC.
Yeah.
And then I was going to say a good final thought. We are entering into summer. Don't do anything stupid. Don't drive drunk. Don't break the law. Nothing good happens after 2:00 in the morning.
Yep.
That's about it. This is the time of year that NFL coaches worry about their players because they go away on that last vacation before they come back. So same thing to any listeners. Don't do anything stupid.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. My final thought is, guys, and I talk about this all the time. It's June. It's okay to talk football. It's okay to look forward to things. But as Sinch said, he's already started his rankings and he knows they're going to change multiple times between now and the time the season starts. Don't sweat the little details. Enjoy the summer. Touch some goddamn grass. Go stand in the sand at the beach and have a beer. But football will be upon us soon enough. Let's not waste the precious moments of summer before it gets too crazy. So I want to thank Sinch for joining us before I even get into our closing thoughts. But Sinch, I think Craig's going to be tied up for a couple of weeks. So maybe what we'll do is we'll schedule a time at 2 weeks from today, or 2 weeks from now, because obviously we're not doing it at 10:30 in the morning. 2 weeks from now, we'll schedule a time. We'll come back and do the NFC because I do think it's a fun discussion. But speaking of fun discussions, things that you should be discussing is how can I support the podcast? And there's an easy way to do that. Leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you found us really supports our program here. You can also reach out to us. Do you think we're crazy with some of the things we said today? Would you like to give your 2 cents? You can reach us at fignutsdfs@gmail.com. That's Fignuts, D as in donuts, FS as in Sam @gmail.com. Sinch, once again, thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Go enjoy some beer in Nashua.
Okay.
And until next time, everybody, my name is Britt.
And I'm Sinch.
And we are the Football Fignuts Podcast. Hi, Deb.